National correspondent John Roberts has a beautiful view this morning. Simi Valley, Reagan Library, the sun coming up. What do we expect from the candidates, John? What are you hearing?
The sun is finally coming up, Bill, so we do get a chance to see the library where we haven't all morning. We're expecting a big night here tonight because a lot of these candidates are going to try to make moves, and most of them will try to do it at the expense of Donald Trump. After months of dominating front-runner status, Trump suddenly finds himself in a very close competition. Take a look at this. The latest New York Times CBS News poll has Donald Trump at 27%, Ben Carson nipping at his heels, 23%, within the margin of error. That is a 17-point bump for Dr. Ben Carson. Watch for the competitors tonight to attack Trump is not a real conservative. The Wall Street Journal points out today that in the 1980s, Trump donated not to Ronald Reagan, but to Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale. Rand Paul getting prepared to sharpen his attacks. He's going to start his day by going out to a shooting range. Trump told O'Reilly last night that he expects to take the stage tonight with a target on his back.
I hear everybody's coming after me. We had one poll where I was at 40 in New Hampshire. I'm at 40 in second place. I think it was 12 or something. And, you know, they're all coming after me is what I hear. And whatever it is, it is. Let's see what happens.
Sharp attacks likely to come from Carly Fiorina, who you remember Trump derided for her looks last week. She told our Megyn Kelly last night she is prepared to go face to face with him.
I don't really worry much about what Donald Trump says, honestly. I'm out there talking with voters every day. This isn't entertainment, although it's obviously very entertaining to many people, but these are actually serious times.
Carly Fiorina needs to have a big night tonight. She pushed very hard to get herself on the main stage, Bill. She really needs to hit one out of the park this evening.
You can ask a different analyst and get a different answer to this question, but who stands to lose the most tonight, John? Can you qualify that?
You could say that Scott Walker stands to lose a lot, but I really think Jeb Bush probably has the most to lose. If you look at that latest poll, he's down from 13 points to 6 points. His fundraising is already starting to flag a little bit. He's got a lot of money in the bank, but a lot of people are looking at him to say if his numbers are going down when they should be going up, how viable will he be? So he really needs to have a big night tonight, Bill.
Thank you, John. Enjoy the view. John Roberts, Simi Valley, California. Thanks, Martha.
This debate is now, according to the CNN countdown clock,
yes,
like less than 24 hours away. Are you ready? Are you ready to do this?
I think we're good. I think we're good. My team and I, we've been really working hard and coming up with questions that I think are going to be tough and really pit the candidates against each other.
Is that the key to a question, that you want it to elicit some kind of response between them?
I think so. I mean, there are interview questions, and we've been soliciting all sorts of questions from all sorts of people. I've been talking to a lot of people who worked in the Reagan administration. We've been talking to a lot of politicos. People have been submitting questions from social media. But what I really am looking for, what we in the team are looking for, is, remember in the first debate when Chris Christie and Rand Paul were really going at it on surveillance? And they were really both very passionate about an issue that's very important. I saw that and I'm like, that's what I want. Like a lot of those moments where I'm not really playing, but they're really debating the issues that are important.
This is the same sort of thing that Chris Harrison looks for on the After the Bachelorette, after the final rose.
Always an inspiration. Always an inspiration. Yeah.
And so you pretty much know what questions you're going to ask.
Yeah.
You go in there. This is a hard job because anything you say, if you try to keep things on track, if you have to scold somebody, a certain segment of the population gets angry at you.
Yeah.
And how do you handle that? I mean, are you concerned about that? Do you try to actively avoid that?
Well, we've been doing a lot of mock debates.
Oh, you have?
And my team has been throwing a lot of shade at me during those debates.
Who plays Donald Trump in these mock debates?
Like, no one you know.
The Chewbacca out on Hollywood Boulevard?
No, a very smart and charming gentleman we have working at CNN.
I see.
But it's not just him. I mean, anybody could really come up. Look, some people are going to have a good night tomorrow night, and some people are not going to have a good night, and they're going to complain about it and probably hold it against the moderator or CNN or whoever. And that's just part of the...
You'll have at least 20 million people watching this thing tomorrow, maybe 30, who knows, right? I mean, you're going to have many millions of people watching.
Please don't set expectations that high. You're writing fall short of Kimmel expectations.
But the reality is, the last one was like 24 or something?
Yeah.
Now it's even more interesting. Donald Trump has roasted pretty much every single one of those people, and now he has to go stand in a room with them, which he doesn't seem to care about. He seems to be somewhat indestructible, doesn't he?
He defies the laws of gravity in politics.
Yeah.
Every time he does something, pundits in Washington say, oh, that's it, he's sunk, and he goes up 5 points in the polls. I mean, it's really, in fact, if you look at the polls, he hasn't necessarily hit his ceiling yet. I mean, he's at 32% in the last poll, and like he goes after John McCain's war record. Oh, he, takes on the beloved Megyn Kelly. It doesn't matter. He keeps on going up and up and up. I think people are really responding to what they perceive to be his authenticity, his outsiderness, and his candor.
He is very candid, isn't he? I mean, he really, I think his secret probably is that he actually answers. One of the frustrating things about watching an interview with a politician is they never really want to answer the question that you ask them.
It's the worst. And I know this just from my day job, and I'm worried about it for tomorrow night a little bit. We're going to be giving these candidates an opportunity to really go at each other on issues and on style and on leadership. And some of them are going to say, they're going to pivot immediately to their 7-point plan for reforming the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I think voters' eyes glaze over. I think that's one of the reasons why people listen to Trump is he actually at least entertains the question. He might call it stupid, but he entertains the question.
Yeah, we want to see wrestling. We don't really want to see people fighting. I mean, would you consider it an amazing success if one candidate were to punch another candidate tomorrow night? Yes?
No.
No.
No, I would not. But I would love them to really fight about these issues, because they're not running for prom king. This is about, who is going to be controlling the nuclear weapons.
Oh, it's terrifying. Don't say that.
The thing is, having it at the Reagan Library, and we're having it right in the hangar. I don't know how many of you have been to the Reagan Library.
None of them.
But it's packed with history. There's a piece of the Berlin Wall. There is Reagan's Air Force One. I mean, this man was very, very consequential, and this is what's on the line.
Well, when Donald Trump sees that wall, he's going to get excited. He wants, maybe he'll use that as the cornerstone of the wall he's planning to build.
It's pretty heavy.
There's, I think people, there's this debate as to whether like CNN and Fox and MSNBC news channels whether they're covering Donald Trump is making Donald. I wonder if it's fueling itself in a way. You have to cover him because he's the biggest story, but he's also the biggest story because you're covering him.
There is a chicken and egg thing there, and I have read media studies about, if covering him, even if we're doing so in a critical and fair way, if that fuels it. And look, he's the front runner. I mean, that's the bottom line. He is the front runner, and he says what he says. The voters in polls say that they like it, and so we keep covering him. If Hillary Clinton were willing to do as many interviews as Donald Trump, we would be covering her as much as well.
Right. But she's boring, let's be honest, and Donald Trump is not. Yes? I can read your mind, and he's...
I would never say that.
You would never say that.
I would never say that.
You don't have to. Your face says it all. I am Jimmy Kimmel. If you like that, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all our latest videos before they die and go to YouTube heaven.